the main question in this video is how life started. So the origin of life. So let's go back to an experiment, the Miller-Urey experiment, when they had a flask and they started to heat the water in the flask. And the flask had a tube coming out of it and was connected to another blob that contained atmosphere, in quotes atmosphere, that assumed atmosphere, what it contained way back 4.6 billion years ago. Also, so another tube came out from that atmospheric blob, and it went back into the water. The water represented the primeval sea or the prebiotic soup. Going back to the water, there was an opening that scientists were able to gather sample from the system. So the atmosphere, I just told you, it's in quotes, it contained hydrogen gas, water vapor, ammonia, and methane. Now, these were electrodes that they sparked some lightning, some electricity, so they simulated also the lightning or the UV in the atmosphere at that time. So the water or the atmosphere cooled down with a cooling system and went back into the primeval sea or the prebiotic soup. So in the atmosphere, it happened the abiotic synthesis of small organic molecules, because what they noticed in the sample gathering for chemical analysis, they found amino acids, nucleotides, and hydrocarbons that formed in the atmosphere because of the composition of the atmosphere. So inorganic molecules started to form molecules of life, or biotic organic molecules. So where did the first organic molecule come from? There are three theories. This is one of them, what we went through, the atmospheric reactions in the atmosphere, because the atmosphere in that time, it was reducing atmosphere. Reducing, that means the materials in the atmosphere were able to lose electrons, and with the help of the lightning or UV, they started to produce organic molecules from inorganic molecules. The other idea, so the reducing means lose electron. They were able to lose electron. Now, compared to now, we have oxidizing atmosphere with the oxygen that picks up electrons. The oxygen with high electronegativity takes electrons from everywhere. So it's different now. Number two is underwater reactions with volcanic vents. As the volcanic vents push out hydrogen sulfate and other chemicals that will form organic molecules. And the third one is the meteorites that they started to bombard the Earth early age. They carried organic molecules that formed in the interstellar space between the stars. So far, so good. Now, how the life started to form at the early time. Our planet is 4.6 billion years ago, years old, but the stages, let's go over again. So organic molecules formed. This is, at that time, there's no cell yet, and that was the Miller-Urey experiment. Abiotic synthesis of small organic molecules happened, amino acids and nucleotides. They formed. Okay. So we have the organic molecules. how can polymers form? Because these molecules, amino acids, bind together to form polypeptides, and nucleotides bind together to form RNA. So joining the monomers into polymers. Hot clay, sand, or rock cover the earth, and the monomers hitting the hot clay, sand, or rock went through dehydration reaction because of the huge heat. Water left the system, and polymers started to form. And this is how it is now also. Polymer formation is a dehydration reaction. So here are the mountains or lava land. Here's the prebiotic soup. The ocean contains monomers. And as they got waved up next to the hot surface or the lava field, polymers started to form and they went back into the ocean. Well, definitely, I mean, it's in a simple way saying it. The third part is now forming cells, isolating of the organic molecules from the surrounding and in an enclosed compartment. That's really the point. So lipids in liquid, they form vesicles, sacs, and they can grow and divide as they get bigger and bigger. And also they absorb organic molecules. So it's pretty neat. And the fourth step is the self-replicating RNA. Now we have the hereditary material. DNA will be transcribed to form RNA and will be translated into protein. But this is how it is now. We don't know how it started to form like that, but we know that the RNA world, RNA monomers spontaneously join together to form polymers. They can self-replicate for short chains. They can form complementary chains, so they can replicate the original section, and they can act as catalysts for their own replication. We have also ribozymes present nowadays, and these enzymatic functioning RNAs, and they really support the hypothesis now. So protocell, over the time, natural selection and mutation acts on them, and they turn into various different type of protocells, evolution. And the last is about the evidences of early life. So evidence, fossil evidences. Way back at the beginning of life, the conditions were anaerobic, no oxygen. We had the prokaryotes with hereditary material inside, no nucleus. They lived in the ocean, in the the primeval sea, and they lived in shallow water. No oxygen in the atmosphere because there was no rust formation, no oxygen at that time. So the stromatolites, they are literally meaning layered rocks. They are bacteria colony that they trapped sediments on their sticky surface, and they took the calcium carbonate out of the water and limestone formed around them. The other one is the cyanobacteria, photosynthetic bacteria that released oxygen into the atmosphere. The oxygen is very oxidative, takes electrons all around because it has high electronegativity, attacks chemical bonds, they inhibit different enzymes, and they can damage cells. So the prokaryotes had two choices. Either they died or they had some type of adaptation, and at the end of the adaptation, now what we see is cellular respiration using tons of energy with enzymes, and we harvest tons of energy with that process. So that's it.